never thought the sound of a suitcase zipper could break my heart. It was a Tuesday morning, the kind where the sun was barely up and the kitchen still smelled of last night's chai. I stood at the window in my old blue robe, watching my ex-husband Mark load the last bag into his car. Our 13-year-old Riley stood beside me, small hand gripping the edge of the curtain so tight her knuckles had gone white. She didn't cry. She just stared, the way children do when they're trying to memorize something they know they'll never see the same way again. That was 2 years ago. My name is Sarah, and this is the story of how my ex-husband stole our daughter's trust fund, ran to Vegas, and how my quiet, bookish 13-year-old got revenge in a way none of us saw coming. Before everything fell apart, we had a small, warm life in our little house on the outskirts of Islamabad. Mark and I had divorced 3 years earlier, but we tried to keep things civil for Riley. He worked as a financial consultant, always traveling, always talking about big opportunities. I taught literature at a local college, marking papers late into the night while Riley sat across from me doing her homework, her glasses slipping down her nose. Riley was the kind of child who noticed everything. She had her father's sharp eyes but my quiet heart. She loved collecting old coins, reading mystery novels, and saving every rupee she got in a small wooden box under her bed. When her grandmother passed away and left her a trust fund, meant strictly for her education and future, Riley called it her freedom money. She was only 11 then, but she already understood what it meant to have something that was truly hers. Mark would come every other weekend, bringing gifts and stories from his travels. He'd ruffle Riley's hair and say, "One day we'll go to America, Beta. You'll study in the best universities." His voice was warm, his laugh easy. I wanted to believe him. Even after the divorce, some part of me still hoped he would be a good father. But small things started shifting. It began with little delays in the maintenance money. Then the trust fund papers he insisted on keeping safe in his office. Riley noticed first. One evening while we were making parathas together, she asked me, "Mama, why does Baba always talk about my money like it's his investment?" I laughed it off, told her not to worry. But that night I couldn't sleep. The house felt too quiet, the ceiling fan spinning slowly above my head like it was counting secrets. Then came the day Mark showed up unannounced, smelling of expensive cologne and nervous energy. He hugged Riley a little too tightly, his eyes darting around the room. When I asked him about the trust fund statement that was supposed to come that month, he brushed it off saying, "Markets are down, Sarah. These things take time." But his smile didn't reach his eyes. Riley stopped talking about her freedom money after that. She grew quieter, spending more time on her laptop, her thin fingers typing away late into the night. I thought it was just teenage moodiness. I was so focused on keeping our small world steady that I missed the storm gathering right under our roof. One rainy evening, Mark called saying he needed to take Riley for a weekend trip to Bond. Riley refused. She stood in the doorway, arms crossed, voice steady. "I don't want to go, Baba." Mark's face changed for a second. Something cold flashed across it, before he smiled again and left. That was the last time we saw him as the man we thought we knew. A week later, I received a call from the bank. "Ma'am, there's been unusual activity on the trust account." My stomach dropped. I remember standing in the college staff room, phone pressed to my ear, the smell of cheap coffee and rain-soaked clothes around me. The officer's voice was professional but concerned. Large transfers had been made. Almost everything gone. I drove home in silence, the wipers moving across the windshield like a heartbeat. When I told Riley, she didn't scream or cry. She just took off her glasses, cleaned them slowly with the edge of her shirt, and said in a small voice, "He took it, didn't he?" That night we sat on her bed together. The rain tapped against the window like impatient fingers. I held her while she finally let herself shake. "Why does he always take what's mine, Mama?" she whispered. I had no answer, only the heavy weight of betrayal sitting on my chest. I tried calling Mark. His phone was switched off, messages undelivered. 2 days later, we learned through a mutual friend that he had flown to Las Vegas, the city of lights and easy money. He had drained the account, left us with almost nothing, and disappeared. The pain wasn't just about the money. It was the way he had looked at our daughter's future and decided it was his to gamble. But what I didn't know then was that Riley had been watching, listening, planning, and my 13-year-old girl was about to teach her father the hardest lesson of his life. The silence after that discovery was heavier than any scream could ever be. I sat at the kitchen table that night with the bank statements spread out like broken pieces of our life. The fluorescent light buzzed above us, and the smell of cold dinner, rice and dal that neither of us had touched, hung in the air. Riley sat across from me, her small frame swallowed by the wooden chair. At 13, she still had the soft cheeks of a child, but her eyes had aged overnight. "Mama," she said quietly, pushing her glasses up, "he didn't just take the money. He took my name off the account first." I checked the old emails. My hands started shaking. Mark had used the login details I had once trusted him with, back when we thought divorce wouldn't turn us into enemies. He had forged signatures, sweet-talked a junior bank officer in Lahore with stories about family emergency, and moved everything in 3 careful transfers. Over 22 lakh rupees. Riley's entire future, gambled away in the bright lights of Las Vegas. I called every number I had. Nothing. His old colleagues said he had resigned months ago. A cousin in Karachi finally picked up and told me in a low voice, "Sarah, he's been posting pictures from casinos. Says he's on a winning streak. Changed his number too." The betrayal hit me in waves. First came the hot anger. How dare he look our daughter in the eyes and steal from her? Then the deep, aching sadness. I remembered the day Riley was born. How Mark had held her tiny hand and promised to always protect her. Lies have a smell, I think. They linger like burnt milk on the stove. Riley didn't cry much. Instead, she did something that scared me more. She opened her laptop, the old one we had bought together, and started typing with a focus I had never seen in her. When I asked what she was doing, she simply said, "I'm collecting proof, Mama. For later." I tried to handle it the adult way. I went to the police station the next morning. The officer listened, took notes, but shook his head. "Madam, this is a family matter. Trust fund was joint. Hard to prove theft." The ceiling fan in that dusty room spun uselessly, just like my hope. That evening, Mark finally answered a WhatsApp call from an unknown number. I had borrowed my neighbor's phone. His face appeared on the screen, tanned, smiling, standing in front of flashing slot machines. The sound of coins and laughter drifted behind him. "Sarah," he said smoothly, "don't be dramatic. I'm investing it. Triple the money and send it back. Riley will thank me one day." Riley was standing behind me, watching silently. I saw her fists clench. "You stole from your own child," I whispered, voice trembling but calm. "How do you sleep at night?" He laughed. That easy laugh I once loved. "Life's a gamble, Sarah. You never understood that." The call ended. Riley looked at me with eyes that were too steady for her age. "He thinks we're weak," she said. "But he forgot I know his habits." What happened next still amazes me. Riley had been paying attention for years. While I thought she was playing games on her phone, she had been noting down details. Passwords Mark used everywhere, he was lazy with them. His favorite betting apps, even the email he used for secret accounts. She spent 3 sleepless nights digging. She found his new Vegas number, his hotel booking, and worst of all, screenshots of him bragging in a private gambling group chat about hitting the big one with family money. But she didn't stop there. On the 4th day, she asked me to drive her to her grandfather's old friend, a retired lawyer who lived 2 streets away. The old man listened to her carefully as she explained everything in her quiet, precise voice. He looked impressed. "This girl has a sharp mind," he told me later. Together, they prepared a small, smart plan. No shouting, no drama, just cold, legal pressure. Riley used a fake profile to message Mark in that gambling group. She pretended to be a big player from Dubai and praised his smart move with the trust fund. She got him to boast again, this time on record, admitting he had taken the money without permission. She recorded voice notes where he laughed about how the ex-wife and kid will never find me here. I watched my daughter do all this with a mix of pride and heartbreak. She should have been worrying about school exams and cricket matches, not tracing her father's betrayal across the world. Then came the public part. Riley didn't want revenge that destroyed him. She wanted him to feel what she felt, the loss of trust. She compiled everything. Bank records, chat screenshots, voice recordings. We sent it to his family group, uncles, aunts, cousins who had always sided with him. The message was simple. This is what Baba did with my education money. Please ask him to return it before it's all gone. The reactions came like falling dominoes. His sister called me crying. His mother, who had always defended him, went silent for days. Even his gambling friends in the group started distancing themselves when the proof spread. Mark called me in panic at 3 a.m. Islamabad time. His voice was no longer smooth, cracked with fear and anger. Sarah, what have you done? My own family is calling me a thief. I stayed calm, the way Auntie May always taught us women to be in storms. You did this to yourself, Mark. Riley only showed the truth. He was still in Vegas, but the city of dreams was quickly becoming his prison. The money was already half gone at the tables, and now everyone who mattered knew exactly who he was. Mark's panicked call at 3 a.m. was the turning point. His voice, once so confident under those Vegas lights, now shook with the kind of fear that comes when your own choices finally catch up. Sarah, delete those messages. Tell Riley to stop this nonsense. She's just a child, he hissed. I sat on the edge of my bed, the cool marble floor under my feet, the fan humming softly above. Riley stood in the doorway in her night suit, listening. I looked at her, this small girl who had carried the weight of betrayal like an adult, and felt something shift inside me. Pride. Deep, aching pride. No, Mark, I said quietly. She's not just a child. She's your daughter. And you taught her exactly what happens when someone breaks trust. He kept talking, promising to return whatever was left, blaming the casinos, blaming me for not understanding his vision. But the damage was done. His family had seen the proof. His mother sent me a long voice note the next morning, her voice heavy with tears. I failed as a mother. I never thought my son could do this to his own blood. The public consequence spread gently but firmly through our circles. In Islamabad, family reputation still matters. Relatives who once praised Mark for his smart business mind now whispered in kitchens and WhatsApp groups. No one celebrated his fall, but no one defended him either. An uncle who worked in finance quietly helped us freeze the remaining traces of the account. What little money Mark hadn't lost at the blackjack tables was wired back in small installments over the following weeks. Riley watched it all without smiling. One evening, as we folded laundry together, the familiar scent of detergent and warm cotton filling the room, she said softly, I didn't want him in jail, Mama. I just wanted him to feel seen. The way he made me feel invisible. That broke me more than anything. I pulled her close, her head against my shoulder, and we stood there for a long time while the call to prayer echoed faintly from the mosque down the street. She was only 13, yet she had protected her own future with a maturity that humbled me. Mark eventually returned to Pakistan 2 months later. Thinner, quieter, his Vegas tan faded. He didn't come to our house. Instead, he met Riley at a small cafe near her school, with me watching from a distance. I saw him reach for her hand across the table. She pulled it back gently but firmly. I'm sorry, Beta, he said, voice cracking. I thought I could fix everything with one big win. Riley looked at him, those same sharp eyes she inherited, and replied, You didn't just steal money, Baba. You stole the safe feeling I had when I thought my father would always protect me. That's harder to return. He cried then, real tears, not the easy charm from before, but the heavy kind that comes with regret. Riley didn't comfort him. She simply said, I hope you become better, for yourself. Then she walked out and straight into my arms. We didn't get all the money back. Some of it was truly gone. But Riley's trust fund account was reopened in her name only, with stronger protections. She even started adding small amounts from her own tutoring sessions, determined to rebuild it herself. Life slowly found a new rhythm. Our little house in Islamabad felt warmer again. We planted flowers in the small backyard on weekends. Riley returned to her mystery novels and coin collection, though now she kept everything more private. I watched her grow taller, stronger, her laugh returning in small bursts when we made parathas together or watched old Pakistani dramas on rainy evenings. The betrayal changed us, but it didn't break us. If anything, it showed me the quiet power that lives in ordinary mothers and their daughters when they stand together. Today, when I look at Riley, now 14 and already talking about college plans, I see a girl who learned early that trust is precious, and that protecting your own peace sometimes means letting the truth speak louder than anger. We all make mistakes. Some people gamble with money, others gamble with relationships. But the real loss is when you gamble with a child's heart. As I sit here tonight, the same kitchen light glowing softly, I wonder about all the women listening to this story. Have you ever had someone break the trust you built for your child? How did you find the strength to rebuild, not just for them, but for yourself? If this story touched something in your heart, remember, you're not alone in these broken trust stories. Share your thoughts below. What would you have done if you were in my place? Thank you for listening with an open heart. Take care of your own peace.